Watch this video to find out the 5 things wealthy people do with their money that most people don't. Hey everyone, I'm James Knoll, founder of Root Financial, and I'm here to teach you how to get more out of life with your money. The cool thing about success, whether it's with athletes or people who have built wealth or people who have built businesses, is there tends to be patterns of what they did to get to where they are. Oftentimes, these patterns are quite simple and are things that we can all adopt into our own lives if we just know what they are. So in today's video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk through 5 things that I consistently see wealthy people doing so that we can emulate them in our own lives so that we can make the most of our finances. The first thing that I see wealthy people doing with their money is they set and stick to goals. Now, I used to write off goals. I used to think, what's the point? Why write down how much money I wanna make? Or why write down what I want my health to look like? Or why write down friendship goals that I have? It's not gonna actually magically change anything just by writing it down. And by itself, it's not. But what I've found, both through my own life and also through seeing this success emulated in very wealthy and very successful people, is they consistently write down their goals and they consistently stick to them. Now, writing down how much income you want to make or writing down how much you want to have in retirement, that's not going to make the goal happen by itself. But what it does is it just starts to rewire your thinking. If I have a goal for a certain amount of income, well, what that's going to do is it's not going to make me make more automatically, but it's automatically going to make me reconsider all the decisions I'm making. What am I doing in the workplace? What am I doing to get that next promotion? What am I doing to get an advancement into another job or with another company or start my own company? So once you start to have those goals written down, it doesn't automatically get you there just having the goal, but what the goal does, it automatically starts to rewire what you're doing to make sure that those little actions along the way are constantly moving you in that direction. And little actions compounded after days and days and weeks and years leads to pretty incredible results. That is something that's so simple, but so many of us don't do. Now, what's the application for finance? Well, write down your retirement goals. When do you want to retire? How much do you want to be able to spend? What do you want life to look like? Again, just writing it down isn't going to magically get you there, but it's going to cause you to reconsider. If my goal is to retire at 60 and live on X number of dollars per year, well, it's going to make me reevaluate my decisions. Am I spending money the way I want to spend money? Am I saving money the way I want to save money? Am I investing the way I need to invest in order to be on track with those goals? So while there's nothing magical about the goal itself, the magic happens in terms of how it starts to rewire you, how it starts to rewire your thinking. It makes everything that you're doing move in one direction. So again, if we use a retirement example for this, let's say your goal is to retire at 65 and live on $7,000 per month. Okay. Let's start working backwards. If that's the goal, how much do you need to have in your portfolio to make that happen? If that's how much you need to have in your portfolio, how much do you need to be saving today to get to that point? Once you start working backwards from the big goal down to the specific actions you can take today, it's going to start to get you on track to be where you want to be. And as we're going through this, I would love to know some of your goals. Drop your goals in the comment. This could be retirement or financial goals. This could be non-retirement goals. I think that this is an important principle that doesn't just apply to wealth, this applies to every area through our lives. So as you're listening, throw in your goals in the comments. Would love to see what that looks like for you. The second thing that wealthy people do is they think long-term. Now the thing with building wealth, along with building anything, is it takes time to do it. It takes discipline, it takes sacrifice, it takes doing things today that aren't always pleasant in order to create the future you want to create. Well, how does this apply to investing? Let's look at it just as it applies to compound interest. So compound interest is one of the most incredible things in the entire world, but it takes time to play out. For example, let's say you invest $10,000 today, and you invest that and you let it grow for 1 year, 365 days. That's kind of a long time to let that money sit there, at least in our minds. Well, if that investment gets 10% growth, 10,000 has grown to 11,000. So okay, that's nice. It's nice to have the extra $1,000, but it's nothing that's going to make you wealthy. Now let's assume you take that 10,000 and you let that 10,000 grow for 40 years and it gets you 10% per year interest. Well, that one single investment turned into over $452,000. So when you look at it, that's the power of long-term thinking. When you have something like compounding that's going to exponentially grow your money or exponentially grow anything that it applies to, you need to give it time to play out. Here's the problem though. You and I, we're living day to day. We're living week to week. We're living with the responsibilities we have today, or news cycle to news cycle. It's just such short-term thinking that we're typically enveloped in on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. So when we hear long-term, The average person thinks long-term, in their mind it automatically goes maybe 6 to 12 months. That's a long time. That's several days and weeks and months even. To most of us, that's what long-term means. Well, in the investing world, long-term can easily be 10, 20 years or more. So as we're taking these actions with our investments and saying, what do wealthy people do with their money? They think long-term. They're not looking at their investments today, hoping they double or triple or quadruple in value overnight. That would be nice, but that's just not realistic. Instead, what they're focused on is they're focused on what actions can I take today that will lead to tremendous results in the future? How can I apply or how can I take advantage of the power of compounding? Well, I can do so, you can do so, everyone can do so, but it takes time for that to play out. So the application for us, well, understand that wealthy people think long-term. They're not obsessed with the day-to-day of what's happening with their investments. They understand it's a process, they trust the process, and they consistently do the little things day after day after day that lead to long-term tremendous results. Number 3, the third thing that wealthy people do is they own equity. Now, when I say equity, what that means is ownership. So wealthy people, what they've discovered is it's not about earning the highest possible hourly rate. I've met plenty of very wealthy people that never made that much money over the course of their life. So there's this misconception that to be wealthy, you have to make huge amounts of income, when in reality, to be wealthy, you have to have equity. You have to have ownership. You have to own something that continues to work for you, that continues to generate income for you, even when you sleep. We all hear about passive income, and we think, oh, passive income is great. But we think, okay, you have to go own real estate to get this, or you have to go own a business and hire employees and create something to get this. Those are certainly ways to do it. But most people, when they hear you have to own something, they get discouraged. They think, oh man, I don't want to go be a landlord. I don't want to go start a company and create a product and put marketing into it and have to hire people and manage people. Those are ways to do it. But the good news is we can all own equity. In fact, it's never been easier or more accessible to own equity. That's exactly what the stock market is. When you go to the stock market and buy a stock, there's this conception that, oh, that's just a casino and hopefully you buy something that goes up in value. That couldn't be further from the truth. When you go to the stock market and buy a stock, you are buying equity in a company. If I go to Home Depot and I buy stock in Home Depot, well, what's happening is as everyone on the weekends is going to Home Depot for their home improvement projects, and they're buying lumber and paint and plants and light bulbs and everything else that Home Depot sells, well, as an owner of Home Depot, I'm profiting from that. I am participating in the revenue and the profits from Home Depot as the company continues to grow. This certainly is not an endorsement for Home Depot itself as much as an example that when you own stock, what you're getting is passive income. You are owning equity in something, and this is what wealthy people understand. You're not going to get rich, you're not going to get wealthy just by commanding a huge hourly rate if all of your money just goes to savings or if all of your money is spent. Wealthy people understand that the true path to wealth is owning equity. Taking money that you've earned, putting it into something that's going to continue growing with or without you, and that's where true wealth is built. So the application for us, buy stocks, buy things that appreciate in value, buy things that will grow and generate income, whether or not we're actively involved in them. The fourth thing that wealthy people do is they surround themselves with people smarter than them. Oftentimes you think, okay, these people that are really wealthy, they must be the smartest people in the room. They must know everything. I've met a lot of really wealthy people that aren't really that smart, except to the extent that they've surrounded themselves with people smarter than them. So instead of trying to learn everything and master everything and do everything, what wealthy people understand is there's maybe 1 or 2 or 3 things that they're really good at. And there's probably lots of things that they enjoy doing. So what they do is they focus their time on what they're really good at and what they enjoy doing. Whether that's family or trips or leisurely activities that add and energize them, that is their focus. For everything else, they're hiring someone to do it for them. They realize that instead of trying to be okay at everything, they want to be very good at something. Devote their energy there and then surround themselves with people that can help them. Now, this has very practical implications. If you have a car and you need something fixed, do you do it yourself? Well, maybe if you really enjoy cars, but if that's not the best and most productive use of your time, you should probably hire someone else to do that. Now, when it comes to finances, wealthy people tend to have attorneys, tax accountants, financial professionals, people that can help them with what they're not the best at so they can fully be freed up to focus on 1, what they are good at, and number 2, what they enjoy. So what wealthy people understand is they don't have to be the best at anything. In fact, nobody's the best at anything. But if you can be good at one thing and surround yourself with experts in every other area, Number one, it's going to lead to more wealth, but number two, it's going to lead to more quality of life as you have more time to focus on what's most important to you. So the application, well, from a financial standpoint, hire a CPA to do your taxes if that's not the area where you're best, or if that's not an area that you enjoy spending time on. Hire a financial planner if that's not what you want to be doing, if that's not your area of highest proficiency. Doing this, delegating and partnering with another person to help with this allows you to focus on where your time is best spent and allows you to focus on where you most enjoy spending your time. The fifth thing that wealthy people do is actually something they don't do, and it's they don't react. I love this image right here. We talked about the fact that you can build tremendous amounts of wealth over time. But as you can see here, if we're not letting that money build for us, if we're not letting compounding build for us, when there's distractions or when there's things that cause us to react, we're constantly resetting the clock on that compounding. So when we can maintain focus, when we can allow compounding to work itself out, there's tremendous growth that you can build for yourself. There's tremendous wealth that you can build for yourself. The problem is most of us don't do that because we allow distractions to get in the way, and that comes in the form of reaction. Here's an example. From 1997, so January 1st of 1997, all the way until the end of December 31st of 2021, so 25 years, $1,000 invested in the Russell 3000, which is just the top 3,000 stocks in the United States, it grew to over $10,300. So that's a lot of growth over that 25-year period of time. Now here's the thing though. Had you missed even just the best week of that 25 years? So think of this, 25 whole years. If you missed just the single best week within that, you didn't get $10,300. Instead, you would have just about $8,600. Now that's still a lot of growth, but keep in mind that over that 25-year period, missing 7 days, missing a single week, and in fact only 5 trading days, that cost you almost 20% of the entirety of the growth you would have gotten over that time period. Now, James, what does that have to do with being reactive? Well, what that has to do with being reactive is the stock market, it doesn't just give you a consistent growth rate every single year. It's way up and it's way down and it's everywhere in between. And when it's way down, we tend to make emotional decisions. When it's way down, we tend to get out of the market and tell ourselves we'll get back in when things get better. Here's the problem with that line of thinking. The best days, the best weeks, the best months in the stock market always come when times are worse. They always come in the midst of those downturns. So when the market's really down and it's really scary and you turn on the TV and everyone's saying, get out of the market now, well, when people are doing that, typically the best days, weeks, months follow that at some point. It happens when we least expect it. So if we react to that, if we get out of the market at the wrong time, we're very likely to miss some of the best days in the market. And when you miss the best days in the market, it tremendously impacts your long-term rates of return. Wealthy people understand that. This goes back to the previous point that we made. They understand it's a long-term process. They understand it's going to take time. They stay committed to that process even when it's difficult to do so. So these are 5 things I commonly see wealthy people do. Wealthy has nothing to do with your income level. It has nothing to do with what your lifestyle looks like on the outside. It has everything to do with your ability to grow your wealth and grow your net worth over time to support what's most important to you. Another thing that wealthy people are keenly aware of is a sense of enough, of what does it mean to have enough. And if that's something that you're asking yourself, be sure to check out the video above. Once again, I'm James Knoll, the founder of Root Financial. If you're interested in seeing how we help our clients at Root Financial get the most out of their life with their money, be sure to visit us at www.rootfinancialpartners.com.